Supermiata Competition hubs. Chubs. These are in stock. I wanted to talk a little bit about these new hubs for the 90 to 2005 Miata. That's the NA and NB chassis. They both use the same hubs. The only real difference is the front hubs have a tone ring for the ABS and they don't have a tone ring for the non-ABS. But you can use this ABS hub on a non-ABS car. On the rear, the tone ring is actually on the axle, not here. So basically these fit both cars, ABS or non-ABS. You don't have to choose. We just offer one hub. So what's the big deal with a heavy-duty hub? Well, it's the flange thickness, essentially. What happens with these stock hubs, now this is like an OEM hub, and you can see compared to our Chub how this flange here, this part that the wheel rests on, is much thicker on the competition hub. Essentially what happens is when the wheel is rolling, this hub flange, it flexes, circular motion like an orbital sander, and this will fatigue around here. Eventually this flange will crack off. It's a common failure mode, and that happens on the rears. Even though this is a beefier hub flange, and this is a factory hub flange, these will still crack over time. So what we did is we designed a much beefier hub, this much thicker flange as you can see here, and our rear is also thicker flange to get rid of the flange fracturing issues. We also include these heavy-duty studs, which I'll get into more detail in a minute. And what we've also done is upgrade the bearing quality. These are grade 10 bearing. Typically for most people, 50 to 100 track hours. We use synthetic grease in these. They are repackable. We offer a seal, so if you want to repack these after, let's say, a year or 6 months and repack them with synthetic grease, you can get a replacement seal. Sometimes you can get this seal to go back in, but if you can't, then you can buy replacement seals. Now for the rear hub flanges, that uses a separate OEM bearing. These are optional on our website, and then the grease seal that goes over the axle cap for the rear. The front hubs come with a cap and nut, so it's a complete kit. Another feature is the anti-cross thread studs. These are high-grade extended wheel studs with the particular design to the snout here that keeps the lug from cross-threading, so you can just basically jam it on there like a NASCAR and it'll go on without cross-threading. So besides the extra longevity, what's another benefit of this? Well, one of the key benefits of a heavy-duty hub flange is reduced pad knockback. Well, what's pad knockback? Well, that's essentially when you've got the rotor attached to this and the spindle attached to this. They're basically two separate mechanisms. So what happens is when the wheel gets low, it flexes the rotor away from your caliper. So you've got your caliper here. What it does is it basically pushes the pads back in. So what you'll do is you'll go through a turn, you'll hit a bump like exiting a turn, and your pedal on the next straightaway will be much lower. Your brake pedal will be lower until you kind of tap the pedal. You see the NASCAR guys will sometimes left foot tap the brake on the straightaways to bring the pads back seated. So if you're getting that consistently mushy pedal and then it kind of comes up and it goes down, that's pad knockback. So the cause to that, the primary cause to that, is basically flange flex. These things flexing as you go through the turn. So that's one of the big benefits of a big heavy-duty flange. Additionally, it does manifest itself in improved steering response. That's kind of more of a subtle effect. What most people are going to notice is pad knockback, especially if you've got a high grip tire and you've got a bumpy track going over curbs or places where you exit the track and you kind of drop a wheel and put a big shock load into the wheel. That's going to basically allow that hub to flex, and we're going to greatly reduce that with our heavy-duty hubs. So we've had some folks ask us about the difference between these and some of the other hub options, and there's two other hub options for the NA and NB. One is a billet hub, which is a beautiful hub. They're indestructible. We actually helped in the development of that hub many years ago, and that uses a replaceable bearing. The big difference is the cost. Those hubs cost more than 4 times as much as our hubs. So if you're building that kind of car and you have that budget to spend, what you get with the billet hub is a replaceable bearing. Ours do not use a replaceable bearing. They are repackable, but the difference is you can buy 2 of our fronts, 2 of our rears, and a spare front for the cost of 1 of the billet hubs. So that's where the value proposition comes in. These are in stock, shipping now. Visit supermiata.com, type in Chub to see which options we have for your car. We'll see you at the track.